Good morning and happy baby Friday. Welcome to the OscopeWizard. I am Gabe, the OscopeWizard. You have joined me in the techno lair to nerd out for a little while. And we are working on a project that I am calling a journey. Actually, I called it a journey to build a in real life subtitle necklace based on a Raspberry Pi 4. We tried a bunch of different Raspberry Pis and we settled on the 4 because that is what ultimately worked with our software. So let's go to the main scene. And I'm experimenting a little bit today with a different camera. We have my iPhone used as a camera. And so that means we can get a little bit tighter on our shots and hopefully see a little bit more detail. But I thought today we could, maybe try to install Samba. So that will allow us to get files to and from the Raspberry Pi from my computer a little bit easier. I don't know, that's kind of a stretch goal. B, we can try INCRON, which is going to hopefully automate the process of recording, converting the recordings to text, converting the text into the LED lights. Hopefully I can do all that with the utility called INCRON. And then I want to figure out what in the world was causing my Raspberry Pi to crash on the last episode. So let's start with checking the pin. And then chat says, thanks, Mr. Lewis. I appreciate it for joining. Thank you very much. We will definitely get to INCRON. So we're going to start with just checking the pin 18. And once we get a recording, let's try to use INCRON to automatically convert that recording into text. INCRON is actually pretty cool. If you've ever messed with cron jobs, they are little automated programs that you can create to run in the background of your computer to do things at a certain time. Like, for instance, I had a cron job one time. Let me start my timer. I had a cron job one time that would operate in the back of my media server and would go out and pull the electronic programming guide for the next few weeks, television programming, and load it into the computer so then my homemade DVR would be able to get the details for the programs. This was before all of that was automated, but man. Here's my Raspberry Pi tied up. So this Raspberry Pi is using a Pi hat to do the recording, and this is the microphone Pi hat, and it has two microphones on each end, and on its GPIO, there is something tied to pin 18. So when I tried to write to my LEDs that were also on pin 18, it was causing a little bit of trouble, and I'm trying to figure out, while I'm doing the recording, does anything happen to pin 18? Is it alive? Is it dead? So I have an oscilloscope probe plugged into it, and I'm going to make a quick recording, and we're going to just see what happens. Let's turn my oscilloscope on. Let's see. Yeah, that's true. Chat's like, I'm a true professional. I'm going to wait to the very end since I know my audience's interest lies in INCRON. That will be the literal last thing I do. That would be what a true professional does. But I kind of want to get into it. Can I get my oscilloscope going here? There is my oscilloscope. So channel 1 is the is pin 18 off the microphone. First things first, let's preset this thing so that we're at a known good condition. I can see going up and down. So it's picking up something just being plugged in. There is definitely a digital signal probably coupling onto this channel because it's not a very big signal. It is less than 100 millivolts because you can see I've got plus 50 millivolts and minus 50 millivolts. So it's a pretty small signal. But when I record, does that signal get big? That is the question. Okay. let's go back to my monitor. I'm going to drag this over to the side so we can still see the oscilloscope, and I'm going to open up my command prompt where I was working on setting up a Samba server. Not very successfully, I will admit. Not the greatest at doing Samba servers. Who is great at Samba servers? I guess Samba server people who are paid to do that. I think that job is called network administrator. They are probably really good at it. Okay, so this is the command that I'm using, the Sybil voice recorder that's dumping audio files out to my speech directory with a time tag. Real quick, let's check the speech directory. I've got a bunch of recordings from last time. Let's delete them all. So we're starting fresh. Also, I am using a directory called the text directory, unimaginatively called the text directory. It has a file in it as well. Hopefully everyone is following along at home. Now, let's issue a command to start my voice recorder and see on my oscilloscope, does anything happen? So this is I'm probing pin 18 on the oscilloscope. We are recording, well, we're recording now. So, oh, whoa. It is using pin 18, guys. So no wonder. Oh, man. No wonder it was crashing when I tried to write to the LEDs. If I go back to just look, what in the world? I think it is using the I2S bus, and I think the I2S bus, if I remember properly from my last project, pin 18 is part of the I2S bus, which is the digital audio bus on the Raspberry Pi. That's at least one option, but it's definitely, look, it is going from 0 volts up to 3.5 volts, so it is fully activated and being used as, I bet it's being used as the I2S clock. I bet that is what is happening, guys. Oh my goodness. Well, no wonder the Raspberry Pi was having trouble when I tried to write data to pin 18, because my microphone Pi hat is already using pin 18, and you know what, we were having a software problem because the software guys didn't read the manual. So let me go really quickly. Let's go back over to my monitor. Let's go to my favorite Raspberry Pi website, pinout.xyz, isn't that it? Pinout.xyz. If I go to, let's see, PCM, so that's my audio. Yep, look at that. GPIO 18 is the clock. Okay, so I probably shouldn't use GPIO 18 to write to the LEDs. While we have been doing that, though, in the background, we have been making recordings. So let's see what the recordings look like. So I can open up an FTP connection to my Raspberry Pi and check that directory. Oh. If I could be quiet for 3 seconds, see, I literally have a recording that's probably a minute long because I can't be quiet for even 3 seconds. I am just, bleh. I should probably be quiet more often. Well, I know that I need to change the pin. I know that I need to change the pin of chat. My sister says I can't do it. I cannot be quiet for 3 seconds. That is true. It's a real problem for me. Be quiet is not, it's not my natural state. It's not my natural state. In fact, see, I still haven't been able to do it. I'm gonna let that percolate and create some files, though. In the meantime, let's go back and see if we can make INCRON happen. So INCRON monitors files or folders and will perform actions based on different parameters. So I've installed INCRON. It's super easy. You just use sudo apt-get. Actually, if you're already a super user, you can just use apt-get install INCRON. Couldn't be more simple. Then what you do have to do is change your user to be allowed to use INCRON, which I think I've already done. So it's in the etc. directory or etc directory. So let's just real quick, we'll go back to my Raspberry Pi and move that over to the side. Move this over to the side. Oh, look at that. Now we can see both. Of course, got the wrong one. So I'm letting this shell continue to record. I need a second shell. Let's open up a new terminal window. How do you add this? Is there a way to just I wanna have this shell on that half of the screen automatically. I don't know all the Windows hotkeys, but there we go. There's my shell. Okay, so let's check my INCRON setup. So we were gonna check that file, INCRON.allow. Okay, so this is the file that you have to edit to make sure that we are, permission denied. Okay, that's fine. We might have to, so when that happens, you can sudo into this to make sure we have permission. INCRON.allow that. Oh, dude, sudo nano, because I want to do a text editor, you know? Sudo nano INCRON.allow. Chat is agreeing that I have trouble being quiet. We'll see how many files that simple voice activated recorder has. I bet it has 2 files still. I really should make the cutoff shorter than 3 seconds. Okay, you can see that I have allowed 2 users to my INCRON allow text file, root, and pi, because I have not added another user besides the default user, which is on the Raspberry Pi. So those are the 2 users that are allowed to use INCRON. So now I need to configure it to do something. Here are the things that INCRON seems to be able to do. It can check if a file was accessed or read. It can check different attributes of the metadata. So if we change time tags, if we change permissions, it can check when a file is closed after it has been written. So after it was open for writing and then it was closed, that should trigger the INCRON. It can check if it was open and nothing was written. If it can check if it was created, deleted, modified, moved, all kinds of different things. What I am interested in is the close write. So when a recording is opened and created, I want to find out when it was closed and left. And then I want to try to decode that recording into text. So let's try to make that happen. In order to do that, I need to issue a command called INCRON tab -e, and that will allow me to edit my INCRON jobs. It's very similar to cron. This is how you would do cron jobs as well. So here's my, nothing's in it right now because I don't have any INCRON jobs defined yet. But I was working on it, and I think okay, so the path, if I'm not mistaken, we'll see if we can figure this out. The path is going to be /home, /home/pi/speech, because that's the directory that I'm interested in. And this is where I wonder if I need to do increate. Okay, so we're going to try to check a directory and see if a file in that directory was opened and then closed for writing. So we'll try this. In, close, write, think. And once that happens, I would like to use that file to do some stuff. You know what I should have done? What I should have done is, oh, here's where I was trying it before. So I did, can everybody see this? Sometimes I get kind of in my head and I forget that there are other people watching, at least two. Okay, so I have the directory that I'm watching in our home pi speech. That's the directory that's holding the files in close write. And then I want to enact deep speech, which is the command using a model, which is, this is all the same that I was doing before. I want to tell it to use audio. And then here's where you get kind of fancy. You start using these $hashtag. That is, let's see, let's copy that. $hashtag is add the event related file name. So this should add the event related file name, which is cool. So we copied all of that in there. Yep. You remember that guy on Sesame Street? He was always, there was a character, a puppet. Wait a second. Was Sesame Street puppets or Muppets? Sesame Street might have been Muppets. Anyway, the character, he always was like, yep. You're the alien guys. You guys remember that? Am I the only one? I know my sister remembers it. So that's it. We have created an INCRON job that hopefully will output, let's see what we wanted it to do. We wanted it to output text into our subtitle directory with a time tag. I think all I need to do now is be quiet for 3 seconds and then check the text directory to see if anything happened. Nothing's happened so far, but I'm not going to give up. We know that INCRON is working because a file has been created. It is 0 bytes. Not a great sign. Oh, a second file has been created. Let's look at one of these and see if it makes any sense. Nothing's happened so far, but I am not going to give up. It's a little bit behind. This is the problem. Timotheus, there was a character, a puppet, set me there 3 poets, our meets peroration? Peroration? Is that a word? Peroration, weigh the character of gasoline yet again as he goes from the Leicester members. That can't be a word. At Hayset, we have created an incline job that hopefully will output. Well, you know what? I can see where it's trying. This is all good though. Look, our INCRON is happening. That wasn't great. Okay, that's good. This is the latest one. We know that INCRON's working because a file was created. Is it still working? It's still working though. Positive notes. The system is not crashing like it was the other day when I had the LEDs plugged in. Still marking though. Okay. Okay. Oh. Still peroration is perorate. I mean, honestly, there is. Do we have this in the order that it came out? Okay, now we have it in order of date modified. It's 11/21, so these are the latest ones. I wonder, you know what might be happening is when I have a longer statement. Um, yeah, chat's suggesting that some of these translations might be an indication of a stroke. So maybe that's what it does. That is one of the indications, slurred speech. And chat is also asking if INCRON is a program. INCRON is a program running in Linux. It is essentially a scheduler that just looks for changes in directories or files and then does whatever you want based on the change to the directory or file. So has a bunch of flags, like we were saying. Did this file change? Okay. If this file changed, then one of the things that was the example in INCRON was if an HTML file was changed, maybe you want to shut down your web server and then restart it. And that will bring the HTML file out to the public. So that was one of the suggestions. And I am using INCRON essentially like that. If a audio recording is created, then please send that audio recording automatically to DeepSpeech. And I think it is working pretty well, guys. Now the next step would be if a subtitle file, if a text file is created, send that out to my LEDs, which weren't working before. No, man. Here we go. 5 minutes remaining. So let's redo this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start. Back to the main scene. Back to the main scene where not a lot is happening, but I do need to make a change to my program for LEDs so that I do not write to pin 18. Let's go back to my NeoPixel. So I don't want to write to 18, 19, 20, or 21. I think before on my last project, I'm pretty sure we were using pin 12 for the NeoPixels. What pins can we use for a NeoPixel? What pins can we use for a NeoPixel? It seems like pin 12 was one of the options. NeoPixel pin number. Will that help us out? The data pin. Arduinos. These are Arduinos. Who cares about Arduinos? I think 12 did work. I do think it did. I'm gonna just try it. I'm gonna try it. What's the worst that can happen? Chat, my sister does remember the yepper. Yep, 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 yep. I feel like I kind of nailed that. I could do that as an impression. Okay, so let's change my program and see if it can work whilst while my recording is happening. When do you use the word whilst instead of while? Whilst? It feels like you have to say it with an English accent, a British accent. Whilst? Oh, that was my accents are terrible. Okay, so that was it. Pin D12 instead of D18. And I think that's the only change I need to make to this program to see if it will work. Control X. Object-oriented programming is awesome. Makes it a lot easier to change things. Okay, let's crank back up my cool camera here. Zoom out a little. Whoa, that's the wrong way. Zoom out a little bit because we want to hook my data line up to pin 12. You know what I could do real quick while this is happening? I could check pin 12 to see if anything is going on. Pin 12. Click back over to the scope. Boom, pin 12. Pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. That is a good sign. Let us continue hooking up. I'm going to disconnect my oscilloscope, hook up data to pin 12. Data to pin 12. Cavalierly doing this while the power is on. Ground to ground. 5 volts to 5 volts. Disaster did not strike. Will my LEDs work? I'm going to try to send a text to the LEDs. I have a bunch of subtitles to choose from. Let's go over here. What do we got? What are we looking at? Chad is saying connect ground first. I connected ground before I connected power. I thought that was pretty good. Of course I'm going to connect it while it's turned on. It's only 5 volts. This is the OscopeWizard, not the connection wizard. The OscopeWizard could probably use some updates to its connection etiquette. So I'm going to copy this. So I'm copying a file name over here. Oh my gosh. We're going to do this though. We're going to make this happen. And I'm going to issue this command. And we're going to see if the, where's my monitor capture? We're going to see if the program will output. So sudo OscopeWizard. Whoa. No, sorry. I don't know what that is. Sudo Python 3 Oscope test message, and then this file. So /home/pi/text/ no text. What? This is the one. Copy that text over here. Boom. Will it output? I'm going to hit enter and then click back over. It's working. It's working. It is working. And it didn't crash. The Python or the Raspberry Pi did not crash. If I back up my camera here a little bit, let's see. If I back it up and I issue that command again, one more issue of that command. Can you even read that? It's a little bit bright, isn't it? You can read it though. You can. Happening when I have a longer statement. It works. It works. No strobe lights. No strobe lights. It works. Yay. Yay. Our IRL Raspberry Pi based subtitle necklace is working. We got INCRON working. I didn't get to Samba, but we did get INCRON working. It is automatically recording what I say and then converting those recordings into text. We are able to get the text out to the LEDs, and I think we're going to be able to automate that using INCRON and wrap this thing up with a nice bow, send it out into the world, onto our next journey. I don't know all the nerds in the world, but I would love to meet them. So please, please, please share this with the nerd. I am slurring my speech. Please share this with a nerd in your life. And I will see you guys in a little while because the OscopeWizard is about to take a short hiatus. We got a bunch of holidays coming up, and I have some time off that I need to burn. So I will see you guys in a while. Stay tuned for the updates on the channel. Take it easy. Bye, guys.